Here's what we do.
Give ready.
Acknowledge the precision. Acknowledge the precision.
Ain't no time for hesitation.
I said that because I want you to understand how crazy it sounds to us when you all talk about a woman's right to choose. It sounds about as crazy as me saying it's a man's right to choose to take a gun and kill one another. Now, let's get back to what we were just talking about here.
I'm sorry, this conversation has nothing to do with womanism and feminism.
It really don't, Mark. But
This is not what the topic was for today.
I'm going back to BYP.
Because I need to understand.
And then we need to get some other callers.
Yeah, we need some other callers too. Go ahead.
I'm going back to BYP with this man-hating thinking that got one of those young sisters physically assaulted downtown. It wasn't the fact that the man is just being violent. She put her hands on him. Okay? And so with this mindset that women have picked up from this white woman feminism, this man hate shit, you know what I'm saying, where they think they can raise up on a man. I'm telling y'all, it is in our nature to be violent. I don't care what
it's not in the nature of the African American male.
Those are learned behaviors. They're learned behaviors.
It would be problematic.
Learned behaviors. That's all it is.
Yeah,
okay.
That's a brainwashed Eurocentric thinking.
That right
that's a
there,
brainwashed slave mentality.
Like this is like this. I'm kind of glad that you called, because this actually gives me more understanding of what hypermasculinity. The toxic hypermasculinity.
Because you painting it right now, brother.
Because
you painting the picture right for us.
The way
I'm telling you, that's the reality. Y'all
no, because the way I'm being real, like the way that we are as a people, black people especially, we are very forgiving people. We are not as violent as the news wants us to say we are. And as a man, yes, I do have a temper, but I'm also very quick to forgive. I'm also like, and that's most men I know. We want to pretend like we have this super bravado and we wear it on our sleeves, but it's more insecurity than it actually is bravado. You know what I mean? And so I see where Danielle, I see where Rev is coming from when it comes down. You said, okay, I'm looking at Facebook Live at the same time. I'm sorry.
Me too.
But I see where Danielle is coming from. I see where Teacher is coming from when it comes down to black hyper masculinity, especially when it comes down to us males, because that statement alone is very it's dangerous.
Right.
I guarantee
it's extremely dangerous.
I guarantee you, when you deal with most black men, I can guarantee you that. And you're right, we definitely are loving and forgiving. Yes, we are. You know, deep down inside. But when you deal with the majority of black men, I'm talking about strong black men, okay? Strong black men, you're not going to come up on them. A lot of our black women have not sat down and really understood and talked to black men.
All right, Mark, I'm going to let you go and give some other people a chance to call in. Salute, and I respect that, but I have to address two things. Number one, I personally believe that after what Mark just said, it's not that y'all don't listen to us enough, we don't listen to you enough. We don't. You know what I mean? No, for real. Like, I'm sitting here listening to the definitions, I'm learning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You have to be willing to learn.
You know, I'm understanding that even though I got beat up 5 minutes ago for confusing womanism and feminism.
And a hug and a kiss.
And a hug and a kiss, though. You really do look at the
accountability. No, it's loving accountability.
But
I don't want you to miss
respect
that.
So, like, I don't think we don't listen to women enough. The ism from New York actually asks, black people are forgiven? Where?
Yeah.
I'm going to show you where. North Carolina. Dylan Roof. The first thing we did was pray and said, I forgive you, brother.
Yeah. You know,
that's who we are naturally.
I wanted to one of your comments on the Facebook Live said that this caller's definition of strong black men is disturbing.
It is.
First of all, I have to go back to something that kind of you jumped in for me, Pastor. Thank you very much, and I didn't really have to say much. But the gentleman that was just on the phone, I believe his name was Mark, asked me what my purpose was, and immediately imposed a purpose upon me which he thought should be my purpose as a black man that's living in this world. That is what I've dealt with my entire life. Yeah. That is the type of thinking that I deviate from. And that's probably the reason why I've had so much trouble growing up as a black man. It's because of that mode of thought. It's because of what you believe my purpose is when you see me as a black man. You don't know my experience. You don't know what I've seen. You don't know where I'm from. You don't know who I love. You know what I mean? That makes a difference on my existence and what my purpose is. My purpose is to provide and protect, but not in the way that you see.
And the more we have in this conversation, the more I'm starting to understand more and more about what womanism really is.
Absolutely.
So as a man, I want to apologize to all the women. Like, I'm serious. Like, I'm learning more and more. Thank you, Mark, for being my Pandora's box. For me to understand.
He opened that thing up. And I appreciate it too, though.
Like, real talk, like, I be trying to tell people, like, and it was that was the second thing I wanted to say about Mark. Mark actually does go out in the street, help young men, go out there. So I will defend him on that, because
But the challenge is, if he's
perpetuating those ideas that he just exhibited on the phone, I would rather that he not.
Exactly. That's the challenge.
I wish I had the camera on my face.
That is the problem.
It sounded like he was talking about the BYP 100. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
that's the
organization
that's exactly
he was
referencing.
The organization.
Which is an activist group. I want to go back and kind of do a little bit of, you know what I mean? Which is an activist group that does tremendous work. They are queer centered. They are womanist, or I should say queer positive and womanist positive. I have done work with them in the past, and they are genuinely, very concerned, sincere group. It's not okay, for us to harm one another, period. Across gender, whomever. That's not okay. I think what we're seeing in these newer movements is in previous movements, Black women largely have dealt with issues that we were having with our men privately for the sake of furthering our movement as a people and as a group.
Yes.
And furthering that agenda. And Black women have suffered a lot because of that. What we see with this new generation of activists and organizers and young people in the movement, they are less likely to just allow that to happen. And so I think they're more likely to confront someone in the moment if they're, displaying misogynist attitudes. And I think that and that's not white women who taught us something talking.
Come on.
That is that is us speaking for experience. That's us standing up for ourselves. And what all of us need to understand is that it's good for all of us. This healing, this process that we need to go through as men and as women is going to help us as a group in the long run.
Yes.
And we're all here to facilitate that.
The reason it's good to hear where he's sitting, because it's so many of our Black men that think exactly that way, and that implication of violence was put into my life, and I thought that that's the way that I had to govern myself. You know what I mean? I got bullied, and when I was in college, I almost got expelled from college for damn near killing a man. Wow. because he bullied me, and that's how I thought I was supposed to conduct myself. Mm-hmm. That's how I thought I was supposed to defend myself instead of defending myself here. I went here because that's what, as a Black man, that's what I thought I had to be. I thought I had to, and especially being a gay Black man, I had to overcompensate. Yeah. So I fought everybody, anybody, anytime.
We have to redevelop our understanding of gender roles.
Come on.
We constantly believe, as you're saying, when I say we, I mean gentlemen, Black men are constantly believing that their job is to be provider and protector. And what I'm saying is the challenge with holding on to a belief system that was created out of the 1940s since the Great Depression, The challenge with that belief system is it does contribute to our heterosexual African American men having low self-esteem and low confidence. So when I hear Mark talk, I hear a gentleman who has low self-esteem and now feels threatened,
Man, that's a
right? And is experiencing threats, right? There's a big difference between confidence and low self-esteem.
Can I
and
go
sometimes, sometimes we mask low self-esteem in hypermasculinity, right? And so my sadness is this conversation has turned from talking about the needs of women to now talking about the needs of brothers who have low self-esteem. And so I'm going to say that I'm aware that this conversation has turned, and that in itself is sexist to me. No. But number two, I think my sadness is black men are needed. My sadness is black men have not reinvented themselves to see the ways in which they are needed. Male mentoring, I'm going to continue to hone on male mentoring because the issue of gang violence is so near and dear to my heart. But male mentoring is so needed. However, we have males who believe that mentoring should primarily come from females and men should be out working and carrying the household financially. I don't understand why our black men still feel as if their primary role in 2017 is still to be provider and protector when we're seeing that there are other areas that our black men are needed. We need male mentoring like never before. And I don't understand why our black men are continuing to say, well, because I can't be provider and protector, then I'm no longer needed. And that to me is very sad, because I believe we are living out the Willie Lynch letter. The Willie Lynch letter. We are living that out right now in 2017 like never before. And my sadness, my deep sense of sadness is number 3. Black women are so loving and supporting, even to a fault. True. You have more African American women that are working full-time jobs and still playing the domestic role to keep their man up on a pedestal. That's right. Right? And so this idea and notion that our previous caller said that black women are no longer honoring the black male, that's not true. Because you have so many African American sisters that are still holding down and being provider and protector. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And at the same time, still catering to the heterosexual male ego. Yeah, absolutely. To a fault.
Thanks for listening to Alternative Thought on Loaded Eardrum Media. And subscribe to our YouTube channel at Loaded Eardrum to see our other shows.